All right, hello. We are going to do 2.2 today, which is solving equations. So on the top of your paper, make sure you have the lesson, your name, date, and hour, just like we've been doing for chapter 1. A previous objective that we've covered in 2.1 is to translate sentences into equations. Today's objective, we are going to solve equations by using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Just a quick reminder that if I go too fast, you can always pause the video at any time to make sure you have what's written, or to make sure you have the correct information written in your notes. The next section is vocabulary, and fortunate for you, there's no vocabulary for this section. So let's get started. The addition property of equality, a key concept. The golden rule of algebra is that whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Some of this should be review. I might teach it a little bit differently, but basically we are solving for the given variable, again using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So let's get started with example number 1, solving by addition or adding. I have h minus 12 equals a negative 27. So write the problem, h minus 12 equals a negative 27. Now what I always do on every problem is I always draw a line down my equal sign. This tells me that whatever I do to this side, I have to do to the other. And solving equations is kind of like undoing the equation to solve for the given variable. Notice here I have a minus 12. In order to undo it, I'm going to add 12. And if I do it to the left side, I have to do it to the right side. On the left side now, a negative 12 and a positive 12 cancel out, and I'm going to bring my variable down. On the left side, I'm left with h, and a negative 12 plus 12 leaves me with a negative 15. Oops. Now it's always important that we check our answers. If you check your answers, there's no way or reason why you should get one wrong. So to check to see that negative 15 is the solution, we're always going to substitute that in for the variable and then see if the equation is true. So my original equation was h minus 12 equals negative 27. I substitute the negative 15 in for h, and notice that yes indeed, negative 27 on one side is the same as negative 27 on the next side. So here we're at our first checkpoint. What I want you to do is pause the video and I want you to solve 104 equals y minus 67. We're solving for y. And make sure you check your solution. Again, at this time, pause the video and we'll come back and see if you got the same answer as I did. All right, hopefully you have an answer and you're going to check it with mine. I have 104 equals y minus 67. So the first thing I'm going to do is always draw that line down the equal sign. And I need to isolate my variable. So if I have a negative 67, I am going to add a 67 to not one side but both sides. This side I'm left with 171 equals, and a negative 67 and a positive 67 cancel out and bring your variable down. So I have 171 equals y. Now I'm going to quickly check it and make sure that 104 equals 171 minus 67. And I know that yes, 167 minus 67 is indeed 104. So I have checked my answer. Did you get the same as I did? All right, moving on. This next question will be answered on your Google form. This is the multiple choice question. So pause the video. Get the correct answer, and then again, you're going to record this answer in the Google form at the end of the lesson. We will check your answer tomorrow in class. So let's move on. Example number 2 is subtraction. Again, basically what this key concept is telling us, that whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other, and we're going to undo subtraction now by addition. So my first example for number 2 is solving by subtraction. I have C plus 102 equals 36. So again, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. Now I'm going to subtract 102 from both sides. Notice the positive 102 and the negative 102 will cancel out. I'm left with C equals a positive 36 minus 102 gives me a negative 62. Okay? So now I'm just going to quickly make sure, does negative 62 plus a 102 equal a positive 36? And yes, it does. 36 equals 36. I know my answer has been checked. So we're at the next checkpoint for example 2. So now pause the video and you solve 129 plus k equals a negative 42. Check your answer to make sure it makes sense, and we'll come back and make sure that we got the same answer. All right, hopefully you've paused your video. Let's check. 129 plus k equals a negative 42. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. So I have a positive k by itself, and I also have a positive 129. So to undo it, I am going to subtract 129 from both sides. Positive 129, negative 129, those cancel out. I'm going to bring my variable down. A negative 42 plus a negative 129. Okay, so this is a negative 42. If you owe somebody $142 and you owe them $129, how much are you in the hole? You should have negative 171 for your answer. Again, these are like combining like terms. Negative 42 or negative 42 minus a 129 will also get you the same answer. So very quickly down below, 129 minus a 171 is going to give you negative 42. Does that make sense? Yes, because I have a negative 42 on this side and a negative 42 on this side. So my answer has been checked. Did you get the same thing? Let's move on. The next key concepts, the next examples are going to deal with multiplication and division. If we want to undo a multiplication problem, we're going to do that by division, and vice versa. If we have a division problem, we're going to undo it by multiplication. Here is our first example for example 3, solving by multiplying and dividing. A divided by 6 equals a negative 9. Okay, again, always draw that line down the equal sign. We have an A divided by 6. So that tells me that if it's division, I need to undo it by multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. By doing this, this is kind of like a fraction, 6 over 1. These cancel each other out. So I'm just left with A on this side, and a negative 9 times 6 equals a negative 54. So now very quickly I'm going to show you that negative 54 divided by 6 should equal negative 9. And does it? Yes, negative 9 does equal a negative 9. My answer has been checked. Let's move on to the next example. I'm going to go through one more with you with multiplication. So if I have a negative 4a, also known as negative 4 times a, equals 40. In order to undo multiplication, we're going to do that by division. So I'm going to divide both sides by not just 4, but a negative 4. -4 and -4 cancel out, and I'm left with A equals 40 divided by -4 gives me a -10. I'm going to come over here and say, does a negative times a negative equal a positive? Yes, 40 equals 40. Should be your answer. Next checkpoint, -75 equals a -15b. So pause the video, try this one on your own, and we will come back to make sure we got the same answer. All right, hopefully you've paused the video. Let's try and see if we get the same thing. -75 equals a -15b. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. I'm going to divide because it's multiplication. I'm going to divide to undo it and divide both sides by a -15. These cancel out. I'm left with b on this side, and a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. I get 5 for an answer. So let's go over here and quickly check. Does -75 equal a -15 times a +5? And yes, it changes my answer to a negative. So that is what the correct answer is. Hopefully you got the same thing. This next question will be answered on the Google form, so I'm not going to go through this one with you, but make sure you have it in your notes, and then again you will record your answer on the Google form at the very end of the lesson. And I believe we are at the end of the lesson, so if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the Google form. Otherwise, we will look forward to doing our homework on Monday.